Let's go to the NFL, Colin. Let's start with the A.J. Brown saga because it just won't go away. Kind of because the Patriots and Eagles have yet to totally squash it. Talking ahead of the draft, Patriots VP of Player Personnel, Elliott Wolf, didn't rule out a move for Brown or anyone else for that matter. Here we go.
As far as players on other teams, again, going to keep the door open to anything that we think may improve our roster, whether that's with the player you mentioned or other players.
What's interesting, Colin, is, you know, when there's a big story about you or anyone else, you squash it instantly if there's no truth to it. Hey, I got the evidence here. This is a lie. We're not doing this trade. Neither team has said that's not happening. We're not moving A.J. Brown, or we're not interested. And so as a result, everybody's saying, oh, well, the June 1 date when the salary cap matters shift with Brown. I'm starting to believe that it's already a done deal, that maybe he's going to be traded on June 1 and things are agreed to already. I don't know. Where are you on this?
Well, Howie Roseman as a GM, I don't think he's the best drafter. I think there are other agents that draft a little better. John Snyder in Seattle. But he's a deal maker. And again, if somebody offered him 2 1s, we just saw Jalen Waddle get a first and a third and I think a fifth. Well, then A.J. Brown is worth 2 1s. So I think A.J. Brown, it depends on the phone call. And for the record, who did they pick up this weekend? Wicks from Green Bay. Yeah. So what does that tell you? That's a receiver, 6'1", 6'2", a receiver with size, a big, strong, because Devontae Smith is he's thinner, doesn't have that kind of intimidating body. So Wicks a little bigger, a little thicker. So is that a little bit of a tell on the A.J. Brown situation?
Yeah, and let me add another layer, Colin. I know you have a tinfoil hat nearby. You like some conspiracy theories. We've got a lot of Jalen Hurts bashing lately in the media. I wonder if maybe somebody who's getting traded or knows the deal's about to be done is starting to leak stuff to make their former quarterback look bad. I don't know. Anything's possible at this stage with the Eagles, but it's clear, Colin, where there's smoke, there's fire, right?
All right. Look. Honestly, if you genuinely believe that A.J. Brown is intentionally feeding information to the media just to undermine his own former quarterback, then you absolutely shouldn't want that guy suiting up for your squad. Let's make that perfectly crystal clear. You also shouldn't be looking to acquire him in a trade either. Because that very quarterback he's publicly running down? That's the guy who helped him earn a Super Bowl ring. That's the same signal caller who delivered touchdown passes to him on Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah. That's a completely different conversation altogether. I'm planning to sit down and film a full segment where I truly dissect a lot of this nonsense, along with this whole notion of who gets help and who provides support when comparing Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and all the rest. It's going to be fantastic. I've crunched all the data. I've gathered every single statistic, every chart, every visual. I pulled together highlight clips. I'm doing the whole package. I haven't hit the record button yet because I'm still organizing everything into one place. I believe the final product will go live on Sunday. I think so, because this is a piece I'm genuinely thrilled to produce and narrate, and I simply want to ensure I get it right. I don't want to mess it up. I want the widest possible audience to see it, since it's bound to stir up debate. Oh, it's absolutely going to be polarizing. And I say that because I'm early exhausted by these misleading storylines. Completely fed up. So you'd better trust that we're going to confront this head-on, once and for all, because it's just become laughable. Honestly, it has. Part of what makes it so absurd is the way we evaluate Jalen Hurts through a particular lens, claiming other quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes are doing things Jalen doesn't, or that Patrick can mentally work through challenges in ways Jalen never has, or that Jalen has every possible advantage around him, which is why he's winning while Patrick is not. So, we're going to shut that down permanently. We're going to finish that debate for good. Obviously, you always keep the door cracked for potential deals. The Patriots clearly want A.J. Brown. That's the exact move they're aiming to make. And the Eagles are plainly willing to listen to offers, but they want everything perfectly organized before they act. They're making sure every detail is covered. I've mentioned this to you all before. Then there was that one NFL insider, I can't recall his name right now. I just noticed he posted something yesterday. He gave an interview and basically said, the maneuvers Howie Roseman is executing are specifically designed to give him maximum flexibility and autonomy, which is exactly what I've been shouting for weeks. That's how Howie Roseman is functioning at this moment. It's a take it or leave it stance. Either present us with the offer we demand, or we walk away. We'll be perfectly content keeping AJ Brown and continuing forward. And if you don't, but you blow us away with a tremendous proposal? Great. We'll pull the trigger. Let's do it. Howie Roseman is firmly in the driver's seat. So yes, this is the kind of language you should expect. You don't shut down any possibility outright. You always keep every avenue open. So go ahead, take a fine-tooth comb and try to decipher hidden meanings between the lines. It's pointless. Remember when Max Crosby said, I want to stay with the Raiders, blah blah blah? And I said, sure. Then he got traded. Then the trade fell through. And it was like, okay. Myles Garrett, I'm leaving. I don't want to be here. Never mind. Oh, you gave me hundreds of millions of dollars? Forget it, I'll stay. So just, quit it. Just stop. Enough with the foolishness. This is entirely standard procedure. Completely normal. So, both teams are open to a deal. And the Eagles are positioning themselves from a place of strength. They're ensuring they hold all the leverage. And it's really that simple. And earlier someone said Howie Roseman isn't good at drafting. Wait, excuse me? What? Hold on, let's just consider the most recent draft hauls, like Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Hurts. We're talking about finding incredible value in Jalen Hurts. He literally carried you to 2 Super Bowls. So if you hadn't drafted Jalen Hurts, who exactly would have been your quarterback all these years, right? Where would you have turned? Who were you magically going to select instead? Show me. People claim, well, Jalen Hurts holds the Eagles back. Let's assume that's true for a second. Who were the Eagles going to be able to draft and acquire that would then miraculously put them in championship contention? To break Super Bowl records? I'll wait. I'll wait right here. Let's actually examine this. In 2020, Jalen Hurts was drafted by the Eagles, which everyone reacted to with, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. No quarterback selected after him did anything of note. Okay? And they weren't in a position to draft Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, or Jordan Love, right? They ended up with Jalen. Then in 2021, they obviously couldn't draft Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson. Not that you'd necessarily want Zach Wilson anyway. Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond, Davis Mills. Where are the superstars in that group? Where are they at? 2022, the same year Jalen Hurts led the Eagles to the Super Bowl, played outstandingly, and had a record-setting season. Were they going to draft Kenny Pickett? Desmond Ridder? Malik Willis? Even if we think Malik Willis might eventually become something, and I hope he does, I'm genuinely excited for Malik, he's not taking that team to the Super Bowl in 2022. I can tell you that with confidence. Bailey Zapp? Sam Howell? So please, tell me which quarterback they would have taken. Now we move to 2023. Bryce Young? Again, obvious. Sly, you're not in a position, because the Eagles aren't that terrible, to be picking first or second overall. Whether they had Jalen Hurts or not, right? At the very least, they would have kept Carson Wentz or something similar. So they're not getting Bryce Young. They're not getting C.J. Stroud. Anthony Richardson? How has that worked out? Will Levis? Hendon Hooker? Jake Haener? Stetson Bennett? Aiden O'Connell? Sean Clifford? Laughter. They got Tanner McKee, right? They landed Tanner McKee. I suppose you could try to argue that in 2024, some rookie would have taken them to the Super Bowl. And obviously that was a more quarterback-rich draft. But where were they in the order? What quarterbacks would they have had access to? None of these. So for anyone who wants to insist that Jalen Hurts has been holding back the Philadelphia Eagles franchise, it simply doesn't add up. If there were all these other signal callers being drafted that you could genuinely point to and say, man, the Eagles settled for Jalen Hurts when they could have had Jackson Smith, and Jackson Smith is balling out. Can you believe the Eagles didn't draft Jackson Smith? They could have. But that never happened. Obviously, Jackson Smith is a made-up name because he doesn't exist. Then we can play the game of, well, if they had drafted, and it's just, you're essentially assuming they have the first, second, or third pick in the entire draft. Like, no. The Eagles are clearly too good and too well managed. Even without Jalen Hurts, they'd still win enough games that they wouldn't be picking in the bottom 3. Why? How do I know? Because they're not the Chicago Bears, or the Carolina Panthers, or the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've never been those organizations. So no, even without Jalen Hurts, they're not finishing bottom 3, bottom 4, or bottom 5. They would have found value somewhere and won games. Heck, at one point they probably would have even taken someone like Mac Jones off New England's hands, or something similar, and they would have put those quarterbacks in positions to win and have success. So the Eagles are literally hitting the maximum ceiling of what's possible. Lucky for them, the ceiling with Jalen Hurts is reaching multiple Super Bowls and winning at least one. Pretty solid. Pretty decent. I feel like that was a good rant that I should have saved for my upcoming video. Might have to reuse some of it. But it's just insane. Completely insane. This conversation keeps spiraling in so many different directions. And now suddenly we're saying Howie Roseman isn't great at drafting? Come on. Everyone always wants to bring up the Jalen Reagor pick. Yes, he swung and missed. But you talk about the Seattle Seahawks general manager and how brilliant he is, that guy wanted to keep Geno Smith and DK Metcalf. Let me repeat that. He wanted to keep Geno Smith and DK Metcalf. It was not his priority to trade DK and bring in Sam Darnold. So we can engage in all the revisionist history we want. That doesn't make it accurate. That doesn't make it reality. So let's be very clear on that point. Okay? Those are simply my thoughts. I'd genuinely love to hear yours. What do you all think about the Philadelphia Eagles and A.J. Brown? The possibility that this door is completely wide open, and the fact that maybe this trade has already been finalized but we just have to wait until June 1st for the announcement? Let me know your opinions in the comment section. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree, either way, let's spark some discussions, maybe a few arguments, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do think about subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd truly love to see you as part of it. I want to create something we all feel genuinely connected to. Something we're all excited to belong to. I think we're well on our way. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, it really helps with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.